Yo, I found this on Pinterest, these jeans, and I wanted to make my own pair. So took a heart. I had a tester fabric. I cut the heart out of the tester fabric and I put it onto the leg of the jeans while I was wearing them, so I'd know exactly, approximately, where I wanted the heart to go. So this is just a tester fabric that I made with a few different kinds of stitching to see what stitch I would like. And then I put it in the laundry to see if it would wash or if it would unravel. It washed just fine, nothing unraveled, not even the raw edge. I did put it in a garment bag, and I do think you should always put stuff in a garment bag just for safekeeping when you're washing something fragile. So yeah, and you should probably also do your stitching on a test piece if you're new to the stitch. So I wasn't certain what stitch I would want in order to close it, so I definitely wanted a tester piece. And then I decided to use a blanket stitch around so that it would kind of hold and look cute. So put your heart kind of wherever you want it. I wanted it in the middle of the thigh, at the top. I don't know how to explain that. I wanted it kind of where it was in the pair of jeans I saw on whatever website I just said. Pinterest. So be careful when you cut it out so that you don't accidentally cut both layers. Stick your hand in it so that you can feel where to stop cutting so you don't go too far. And then you can be careful to cut it out so that you actually have a usable heart later. I was not careful with this pair because it's easier to just not be careful and go through the middle. But you could be very careful and salvage it out. It's way more work. So anyways, user's choice here if you want to use that heart again or not. I lost my train of thought. Okay, so to do this, you need a big needle, yarn, scissors, something you're going to use as a template, pen. Is that everything? I think that's everything. Oh, and I use a hoop, an embroidery hoop, because it makes life easier when you sew. So put the hoop inside the pants, and then the outer hoop goes on the outside of the pants, and then you'll have your heart in the hoop ready to go. And for the yarn, since this is such a big heart, I used a really, really long piece because I did not want to have to knot it and then start again in the middle of this. I wanted a consistent piece all the way through. Less knots on the back if you don't have to restart with a new piece. So user's choice there. It's a little harder and takes a little longer to sew with a really, really long piece, but you can. It's if you don't want the knots in the back. I didn't. So I'm just a little, I don't know. I only like to do the one big strand. Not important. Anyways, so for a blanket stitch around it, I didn't really know where to start so that everything would be kind of like lining up well, but starting at the bottom seemed to be good because then my little knots were at the bottom and then you could just kind of tuck them under. So that was good placement. And then to do the blanket stitch, you have your fabric, you come up from the back so your knot is in the back, and then you go down around it and back up from the back again and then through the side. Did that make sense? Googling how to do it would be easier than trying to take instructions from me. I am so bad at explaining things. I majored in English. Can you tell? I'm so good with speaking. Like, wow, I can really explain stuff. I make 0 sense, even to myself. So I get it. It's rough. I'm not a good teacher. But, so what I do is you go up from the back so that it's started, your knot's in the right place, and then you do around it and then up from the same spots that you have your loop on the outside, right? And then now you've got your loop. I leave the loop open and big before I pull it tight so that I can see what I'm doing with the needle, and then I'll take the needle and I'll loop it through the loop and then pull it tight so that you have your loops going around the edge. That probably made no sense to anyone. So anyways, use whatever stitch you want. This is a blanket stitch specifically, and I used yarn that's multicolor so that it comes out in like a rainbow kind of a thing. I have multiple yarns like that, but this is the one with the most pink, so I chose this one. I also have one that's got a lot of green in it, and I think the other one's a lot of blue, but this is my pink one here. So that's how I wound up getting the effect of the colors going like that, is because the yarn does it. So if you want that effect, you got to have yarn that's changing color. like that. Oh, I feel like I don't make any sense to anyone. Oh, oh well, it's fine. Do I need to make sense? No. So the little point at the heart is going to be a little bit hard to work with because as it gets smaller and smaller, the gene will try to like frazzle. How do you call that? Unravel. So you have to be really careful about how you close those. You have to be tight with your stitching around those so that it holds the jean fabric in and tucks that little lip in and is stiff so that you actually have your little heart point, the top, whatever you call that. Ugh. And then you go through, so when you're doing the point, you've got your 2 rounds. After you go around one of the rounds and then in through the bottom, you use the same spot in the middle to do both sides, and it'll pull that little corner up and give you that little piece in the middle of the heart. That piece. My words make no sense. I can feel this. Ugh. Oh well, I feel like this project is easy enough that if you kind of know how to sew, you can do it. So here's hoping. I mean, it was pretty easy. It took me maybe 40 minutes grand total to do this. So it's not a bad project. You could make the heart a little bit smaller so that it's tight on the leg, or maybe my jeans are a little bit too big. Oops. I don't like how it's got this little gap at the top, but the jeans that I'm copying also have that little gap at the top. So I don't know if that's just a jeans thing or what, but if my jeans were tighter, they wouldn't be doing that. So maybe if I did this on a pair of leggings, I would like better the way that the top sits. I don't know. Also, if I had put on tights or like fishnets or something under the jeans, it would have looked a little bit more fun than just leg. Oh well, whatever. So yeah, close enough. My blathering this week makes 0 sense, but to anyone who watched this, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching my blather. It doesn't make sense at all. I'll show my jeans in a second and how they come out. I think it's pretty cute. And I also show my tester so you can see the difference between my done and my attempt. So it's pretty even. You need the stitches to be really, really tight together for the blanket stitch, in my opinion, so that it's like sturdy and it holds all that jean in so it doesn't unravel. So, bye.